Well, welcome to another episode of the Hack My Age podcast and happy new year. It's 2025. So, resolutions or not, let's make 2025 the new year of you, right? This is a chance to optimize your menopause experience. Why not? And you can so easily do this when you join us in the Biohacking Menopause membership group. If you like our guests, if you've been enjoying them, man, we get them in our live Q&A sessions in the membership group. So it's really worth dipping your toe in here. Come and join us. Let us know what you think. We have live Q&As. We have breath work with me coming up this month in January. We've got guests, experts, Jennifer Chesick, who is going to talk all about psychedelics, psilocybin, how this affects a woman differently than a man. Just there to answer your questions. It's a very intimate group and we're not very big. So everyone gets a chance to have their questions answered and meet our guests. And then after Jennifer, we've got Natalie Nidham. She's my biohacking bestie, and she's so on it with the latest and the greatest, and her specialty is peptides. And then we've got our own in-house functional medicine doctor, Dr. Indra Bharathan. She's coming in as well. She comes in every month, and it's a wonderful chance to talk to a functional medicine doctor about your menopause experience, get a second opinion, hear her thoughts, clear some confusion. It's so wonderful to have her every month, and she gets to know you too. So once you come on again and again, she has her eye on you, so she knows how to answer sometimes for you. And then we also have a giveaway this month, which is a tub of my favorite essential amino acids, Kion. It's Kion, getkion.com/Zora. If you don't join the group, you have a chance to always get that at 20% off. But we have giveaways every month, so we can have a winner of this essential amino acid. And then we also have next month in February a giveaway with the Flex Beam, which is that's about $600 of value. So fabulous tool. It's a red light therapy device. So we've got that in the month of February. So jump on in and have a chance to do that. And if you cannot, then don't worry. We've got the Facebook group, Biohacking Menopause. It's free. It's there. Got a lot of noise on Facebook anyways, but it's a chance to meet a lot of other like-minded women, ask some questions, and see how everybody answers for you. And then we have the YouTube channel. I just want to remind you about that because it's great to see our guests live as well and see what they're showing. And it's just a great community there too. We have a lot of comments and interaction as well in YouTube. So go check that out. It's always Hack My Age. I have links to these membership groups and the Facebook group and the YouTube in the show notes. So let's reflect a little bit on what happened in 2020. It's a chance to reflect on what you have accomplished this year and what goals you want to have for 2025. And for me, let's say a year ago in January, I was contemplating hip surgery. I was reaching the end of my rope with osteoarthritis of the hips. And I've tried everything under the sun. I've worked inside, outside, and I just ran out of money, ran out of time for my biohacking experiments. So it took me a while. It took me until September to get this hip surgery. And in a few days, I'm going to have the second hip surgery after it's like 3.5 months of recovering from the first one. So I just want to get this all behind me so that 2025, I will be back to my old self, jumping around like a Energizer bunny and working on the body again, because although I've maintained muscle mass, I've maintained my body composition, I'm so grateful for that. I work really hard for that. I've given all my hacks and other podcasts, and if you want to go back and listen to those, how I did it. Just because you can't move doesn't mean that you just turn into jello. It's really, really important to maintain muscle mass before you go into a surgery. So my journey's been long, but I believe there's always a reason. There's a reason why I'm put down this path. And I always go back to gratitude and think so much worse in life. I'm going to get surgery for a great thing, to have a new life, a second life. So I'm happy with that. February will be 1 year since starting the Biohacking Menopause membership group. So that started last year. I was really excited to get that going, and it's just growing. And I'm really excited to keep growing it. And then in May, June, I hired some new staff for Hack My Age, for our Hack My Age business here. And that's how we're getting really great, a lot more effective social media content and getting more information out there. And in August 2024, I got some new sponsors. You probably heard them, which is really, really helpful. I know you do your part with writing reviews and comments and things like that on Apple Podcast and Spotify. This is how we grow the podcast, but it's really important that we're funded for this because I have to pay staff to do this. So thank you for your reviews. That really helps us grow. And then it attracts sponsors as well. And of course, with any sponsor that I accept, I've obviously vetted for them by myself. I've checked them out. I've tested their products. And sometimes I've taken things on because I haven't quite done a full test of someone's product, but I've dabbled my toes in it, but I really like the research behind it. I think it's a good company, but I'm always very transparent when I interview these people or I make an ad for them that I've just started out, but I think it's a pretty good thing. So go check out our sponsors. Please go and see if that's something for you, because without them, really, I would probably have to stop this podcast because it just comes to a point where you need to pay the bills. Let's also go back. Also, another thing in review, I've added 2 podcasts a week, right? I was most of last year, 1 podcast, now we're 2. So what's coming up for me and Hack My Age other than my hip surgery? We're going to grow the community even more, the membership group as well, Facebook group as well, and the podcast. Again, the podcast is super important that we keep growing. So please, if you haven't done a rate and review, it's a very small gesture that makes a huge impact for us here. I get to invite bigger and better guest experts. When we have more reviews, we have more visibility, those big people are more willing to come on as guests. And so I want to ask you, who do you want me to invite onto the podcast? On my list, I've got Dr. Lisa Mosconi, and she's a brain researcher. I've got Dr. Sarah Gottfried, who knows so much about hormones and menopause. Dr. Mary Claire Haver, I would love her to get her on the podcast as well. I'm very much aligned with her. So these are just a few people who are on my list who I'd like to get. So please help me get them. And all of these guests are invited to speak and answer your questions in a live Q&A in the Menopause membership group. So that's another great thing. And what else is coming out? I would love to write a book, Biohacking Menopause. No one's really done it. I feel like I need to do it. So if I can get my act together and write, that would be awesome. And then what else is coming up in 2025? I work a lot on getting my voice out about biohacking menopause on other podcasts. So if you know someone that you can connect me to and be on their podcast and share the word, please connect me. And then I'm excited to explore a lot more products and technology to help us biohack menopause, because I believe that's all coming up. Menopause is growing, that people are, it's a buzzword now, and people are creating new things, good and maybe not so good. So I'm looking for the good stuff that can help us just biohack our way through this menopause transition. And then I'll just keep sharing and on the latest and greatest of everything concerning menopause and longevity, because as the gerontologist, I'm always concerned about my future self. And it's great to resolve some of our menopause symptoms and feel better, but we also want to look to the future. So what's happened to just menopause in general this last year? What has it seen in this past year? And I'd love to share a couple of wins for us and who are really rooting for menopause to become a more of a thing. It gets more and more attention, and I think 2024 has been a really great year. Menopause was certainly much more of a taboo topic in our Western world, and it's now becoming a little bit more normalized, which is fantastic. Women are raising their voices. They're opening up. I can see this when I ask women about menopause on the street. This is the feedback that I get. I do find a lot of countries around the world are still stuck in this taboo, but it will come. It will come. But generally, menopause is more frequently in the news. You can see in the media, in the news, and especially if you've been following anyone about menopause on Instagram or Facebook, that those other people who are, raising the flag for menopause are probably coming into your feed as well. So, a couple of highlights from this past year in the US, at least. The Biden administration, they launched this galvanized new research on women's midlife health initiative in March 2024. That was cool. Senator Patty Murray, she introduced this bipartisan legislation which gave $275 million for menopause care and midlife health research. Yay. This is a significant political recognition of menopause as a critical health issue. Some people would argue it's not enough, for sure, but at least we're going in the right direction. And if you've been following as well, actress Halle Berry, she's been on Capitol Hill to help with this push as well. It's just a breath of fresh air when you see more and more of those famous personalities coming out of the closet and sharing their challenges of menopause and bringing more awareness of the topic. So that's cool. Then there's been some really great breakthroughs with brain imaging research. And there's been this Weill Cornell Medicine. They developed a new PET imaging technique that shows how estrogen receptors change in the brain during menopause. And that study showed progressively higher estrogen receptor density in postmenopausal women. And this potentially it extends the sort of quote unquote window of opportunity for hormone therapy. And that window of opportunity, if you're not familiar with it, is the younger you are starting hormone therapy, the better is. And that's, we want to get this just before you hit menopause or when you start losing your hormones, which can be also much earlier as well. But you don't want to be without your hormones for too long. And that's why this is window opportunity. And then there are a lot of doctors who say 10 years post-menopause, already too late. They're not going to give you this because you're not going to get as great benefits as someone who's younger. But I think that's wrong. When my training through the Institute of Bioidentical Medicine, they taught me that was wrong. And definitely doctors can treat women 10 years post-menopause or more with hormone therapy. You just have to find the right doctor. What else? Dr. Lisa Mosconi, she's the Associate Professor of Neuroscience in Neurology and Radiology, and she's the Director of the Women's Brain Initiative at Weill Cornell Medicine. And it's thanks to her work that there's this ton of research going into menopause, the menopause brain. Well, some people would argue not a ton, but some research is going into the menopause brain, and it's having its moment. And I can highly recommend reading Dr. Mosconi's book, The Menopause Brain, if you want to take a deeper dive into her work. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. Then we had World Menopause Day 2024, theme being menopause hormone therapy, or MHT. It's this sort of their theme for the World Menopause Day, which is on October 18th. And that raises awareness, it gives some good information, and it helps women make some informed choices about hormone therapy. But keep in mind, MHT, or menopause hormone therapy, it's a word that floats around and you're like, what's the difference between that and HRT? Some people use it interchangeably, just like they do perimenopause and postmenopause and using the word menopause. But MHT, if you want to get really nitty gritty with it, it can mean that it's just short-term low dose estrogen, which it can be either alone or with progesterone to manage the menopause symptoms. It's just take care of the symptoms. And this is really different than, say, hormone replacement therapy, which is there to replace or replenish or top up the sex hormones to pre-menopausal levels. Not that we want to be 20 again. It's just that we want to get to a level to protect our bones, our brain, our heart, vagina, things, muscles, so that we can be in a really good condition, optimizing our health, right? Optimizing menopause for our future self, if that's your concern. If you don't care about that, totally fine, your choice. But just be aware there's a difference between MHT and HRT. And really now we do have the option to use hormone therapy longer and in higher dosages. Again, you just need to find the right doctor. And this has to be a discussion with your own personal doctor or healthcare provider. You can get menopause treatment from nurse practitioners. You can get it from menopause experts. You can get stuff over the counter. There's many ways to skin a cat. That's up to you how you're going to do that. And so, yeah, if you need help with that, just, reach out to me and I can lead you in the right direction. And then the last thing that I think was really good is that we just have some more ongoing hormone therapy safety research. So just longer term studies coming out with evidence that cardiovascular safety of menopause hormone therapy is good, right? There's no cardiovascular mortality or all-cause mortality that's increased because of taking menopause hormone therapy. So that's should be hopefully clear by now. If you've been following with me for more than a minute, you know that. But yeah, we still generally have a long way to go in menopause research, but at least we're starting and we have enough. I think we have enough information to help us make informed decisions that work best for us. And some of the things that we can look forward to in 2025 for menopause is just keep getting more menopause research, slow but going. And we got more attention and even investment in menopause related products and hormones and services. That's really good. Now we just have to be, I don't know, just say just a bit more aware of people who just want to hunt down women who are in menopause and think that they'll just spend anything on anything. No, I think we're smarter than that, but there's a lot of garbage that comes out as well, in the sense that we need to just be, yeah, just take a little deeper dive into something that has a menopause label and it says made shampoo for menopausal hair or something like that. Not that it can't exist, but just be a little skeptical with everything. That's the way I am. And then I think we're going to have more wearable devices and more AI powered stuff that's going to give us more personalized approaches to symptom tracking and treatment and just feeling better. And that's the biohacker in me absolutely loves that. I'd love to test, measure, and assess. I think there'll be more options for holistic approaches as well to help just improve quality of life for us going through this transition, if you prefer that route. Or additionally, I'm doing both holistic and hormone therapy. Like that's me. I like to bang it all out because it's not just about fixing some menopausal symptoms, but again, what's happening under the hood that I don't feel, what's happening as I'm aging, what's going to happen to me when I'm 70 or 80. And that's, again, it's this whole holistic approach, many things that I do personally to make this transition smooth and protect my future self. And then I think there's going to be some really good skincare and cosmetic solutions that are made, especially for more mature skin. And I'm going to be looking out for new and exciting products coming out. Hopefully, a lot of they'll come my way, but I'll find them. And then I love the fact that we're normalizing the conversation about menopause. I think that's a good thing for 2025. And then I think more doctors are going to get on board training and more experience, at least, working with menopausal women. You know, it may take years before a doctor feels really comfortable and knows what to expect when he's treating a woman through menopause. So I think give it some time. Every year is a step forward to get a doctor trained, to get a doctor with more experience. And I think there'll be a lot more, hopefully more formulations out there as well, too. We've got a lot going on. And we've got gels and creams and patches and injectables and all kinds of stuff. And some countries more than others. I think the US has some of the biggest ranges of products, but I think we've got a pretty good choice, but why not? There's always room for more and better. And yeah, just generally look forward to all of these advances and all these opportunities to those of us who are transitioning into this new phase of life. So that's it. Very short episode today, but I know you're all busy, probably just recovering now from the holidays. And I'm just wishing you and your family a very warm, happy, and healthy 2025 and making menopause the best years of your life. So take care and Happy New Year.